been able to put together a guide that will help you to know the right questions to ask, when to ask these questions, the trimesters that you are in, and the questions that you need to ask for every trimester. I don't mean to scare you in any way, but it's one thing to be pregnant. Actually, it's one thing to be confirmed pregnant via blood test or via pregnancy test strip, but it's another thing for that pregnancy to be inside the uterus. It's another thing for the amniotic fluid of that baby to be enough. It is another thing for the position of that placenta to be in a place that it will not affect your birth plan. These are the questions that are really uncommon when we go for antenatal, because you might not even think to ask these questions when we go for antenatal. Now let me explain why these questions are really important. So it is one thing to be pregnant actually, but it's another thing for the pregnancy to be where it is positioned or where it is meant to be, which is inside your uterus, your womb. In some cases, pregnancies are growing in the fallopian tube. That is what we call ectopic pregnancy, where the pregnancy is not growing inside the uterus, rather it is growing inside the fallopian tube. And the problem is it cannot grow normally when it is growing inside the fallopian tube and not inside the uterus, because at some point the fallopian tube is going to rupture, which will cause severe internal bleeding, and that can be very life-threatening. So what you need to find out after being tested positive for pregnancy, the next thing you need to do is to go for a scan to confirm if that pregnancy is growing inside the uterus. The second question that we usually don't ask when the pregnancy progresses, especially in the second trimester, is the amniotic fluid of the baby enough for the baby? That fluid is not there for decoration. It is there to cushion the baby, to provide the environment for development and movement. When the amniotic fluid is very low, doctors call it oligohydramnios. Depends on why it really happens, how low it is, and then the stage of your pregnancy. Your doctor is going to suggest a close monitoring of you and your baby. Now you're going to be asking questions like this, especially in your second trimester. What is the amniotic fluid level of my pregnancy? Is it normal for the baby for the how many weeks pregnant that I am? And if, in a situation where they say that it is low, you're going to be asking why it is low. How can it be managed? The third important question that we sometimes rarely ask, especially in our fourth trimester, is my placenta positioned properly? The placenta is the organ that connects the pregnancy to the mother's blood supply, that provides nutrients and oxygen to the baby. Now, something very important that you need to know: the position of the placenta does not determine the position of the baby. It does not determine the position of the baby. Rather, the reason why you need to ask that question is to make sure that the place that placenta is positioned is not a place that is going to create any problem for you when you want to deliver your baby. If your placenta is positioned lying low, what the doctors call placenta previa, if I pronounce it correctly, when the placenta is lying low, which is lying close to or covering your cervix, it is going to affect your birth plan, your delivery plan, especially if you want to give birth through vaginal delivery, but then your placenta is lying covering your cervix. There's no way the baby is going to come out, so they would have to suggest another delivery plan to you, which is most likely CS. And obviously when you do a scan, they will tell you if it is lying low, what can be done about it. Do I need to recheck again to know if they are shifted or something? Or at the end of the day, what is the next best plan that I can go for? So to my pregnant girlies and my girlies alone, I don't want to hear that you went to antenatal and you're very anxious, you're overwhelmed, you don't know how to ask questions, you're scared of the doctors, this and that, you're shy, and you forgot the question